Welcome to PDX Garden Home, where I garden around my driveway here in the Pacific Northwest. The tasks we take on today begin to shape the season ahead. Today, at the potting bench, I'm sowing asters, ageratum, Canterbury bells, and forget-me-nots. Tiny things barely there in the palm of your hand, yet full of intention. Each one placed into cell trays with a quiet trust in what's yet to come. From there, the work moves out to the garden. In the west beds, the soil is ready. Red bulb onions and lettuce starts are tucked gently into place. Then back again to the bench because the cycle never really stops. Fennel, dino kale, borage, and blue weed. A mix of the practical and the ornamental, each one bringing its own character to the garden in the weeks ahead. So come along and let's garden.
Gonna plant the asters here. These do need to be planted. This is enough. These are what the aster seeds look like, and that's more than enough to do the whole tray. So we're going to do the whole tray full of asters. My hands are freezing, so I think I'm going to call it a day after this. I still have more seeds in my March rounds to plant, but there's always next week. Got a lot of seeds here, so I might do another tray or two of asters. Okay, I'm going to be planting this, you say ageratum or ageratum? You all know I don't know how to pronounce things. I grew this, the blue planet flower, I grew this one year in a pot, and it was striking. It was beautiful. This thing says it has 25 seeds in it. I opened up the inner packet and I was like, there's not 25 seeds in here. There's only a few. But the trick was that I had tore off the top of that inner packet, and guess where all the seeds are? They're just hiding in there. So yeah, you gotta be really careful with these. They're very precious, apparently. Okay, so oh, and what I need to do is check and see should these be covered or not. I'm only going to put in a 6-cell tray, which means I'm not going to use 25 seeds. Light age germination, press seeds into surface. So no covering this one with. I don't think I'll be able to successfully save these though, either way. So I'm getting multiple seeds in each cell here. Okay, wish me luck on this one. It's a trickier one to grow, I'm guessing. forget-me-nots. I grew these one year and enjoyed them. This is a press seeds into surface plant, so another one where I don't want to cover it up with soil. Canterbury bells, the cup and saucer flower. I've grown this before. It's a relatively large plant, but quite striking if you can get it to work. These are burpee seeds. And give it a go. I'm just going to do a 6-pack of these. Okay. Okay, this is one that I got a couple of years ago, and 3 years ago actually, it's called the Sweet Violet, and they never planted it, so I'm gonna give it a go now. Finicky seeds.
Bare feet in the garden, morning on my sleeves, dirt under these fingernails, breathing with the leaves. I'm just tending the small things, one new leaf at a time, space for the slow change, water, warmth, and the quiet kind of light. Oh, the quiet kind of light. Oh, the quiet kind of light. Talking to the seedlings, whispering their names, trusting all the hidden wounds to do their gentle, patient games. I'm just tending the small things, one new leaf at a time, holding space for the slow change, water, warmth, and the quiet kind of light. Yeah, the quiet kind of light. Yeah, the quiet kind of light. Nothing here is in a hurry.
I get quite a bit of satisfaction returning to the soil, seeing the seedlings I planted from seeds weeks ago under the lights in the garage now go into the ground. Along this narrow bed tucked beside the fence, I'm setting in red bulb onions, each one spaced just enough to swell in its own time, undisturbed, unhurried. They don't ask for much, only light, patience, and a bit of room to grow. The soil here has been gently prepared, loosened by hand with a light scattering of amendment to wake it up after the winter months. I know it's ready from how it crumbles just so between my fingers. In between the onions, I'm tucking in lettuce seedlings. These are still tender things, raised under cover, hardened off under the cherry tree. Now they're meeting their place in the soil for the first time. It's always a small moment of transition, from protection to exposure. Each plant goes in with care, pressed into place, roots settled, the soil drawn back around it like a blanket. And here in this modest strip of earth, the intention is simple: layering the space, making the most of what's given, letting onions rise slowly beneath while the lettuce fills in around them, soft and green. In time, this bed will feel full, abundant in its own way. But for now, it begins like this, one planting at a time.
Borage. This one I grew in my older garden, the big garden, and I don't remember how I started it, because I'm reading here in the seed packet it says roots don't like disturbance, so it doesn't necessarily recommend starting the way I'm doing it. I'm going to go for it anyway because I just start everything this way, and often find that you can start a lot more this way than people think you can. And we'll see. It won't be a total tragedy if I don't get any borage this year. When I planted it before, it was a violent self-seeder. Like, it got all over the garden after that, which was okay. The leaves are edible, the flowers are edible, it attracts pollinators, it's an herb, it's get it kind of self-seeding itself in places around the garden would be just fine with me. So anyway, that's my story around borage, and I'm sticking to it. We'll see how it goes planting it in cell trays. I don't feel like I need to plant a whole lot of it, so I'm just going to do 1 6-pack here. These are fairly big seeds. See how big those seeds are there. Okay. I'll do a couple per. Be interesting how much self-seeding actually occurs in my garden here, because this driveway garden is organized around a driveway. So it's not like I have a big open field all interconnected that things can kind of seed across. It's, beds that are around the driveway and are being held up, as you see by some of my videos, by retaining walls that I'm building. And so I wonder if self-seeding is less of a thing in this garden. I guess you don't need a ton of space necessarily to self-seed, but when I was talking about the borage, the borage here, self-seeding, and I saw the same thing with calendula. Calendula would self-seed in my old garden as well. And those plants would show up like 50 feet away in other places in the garden. So that can't really happen here because there is nothing going on 50 feet away. And the 50 feet, if they're beds, or the garden that is divided by 50 feet here is divided by a driveway and concrete path and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a different landscape here for sure. That's that. Okay, so if you're counting as we go, which I don't expect you would be, but if you were, you would notice that I planted 2 varieties of kale, the blue curled kale and the scarlet kale. And I did 6 cells of each, so that's 12 kale plants there. And now I'm going to do this, what I call dino kale. It's a version of dino kale. This one is black magic kale is what this variety is being called. I'm gonna plant this, and this is the kale that I love eating the most. And so I'm going to plant 12 cells of this, 2 6-packs. So that means we'll basically have, if all of these survive and grow in the garden, we would have 24 kale plants in the garden, which we don't really have room for. So we'll have to cross that bridge and deal with that challenge later. Okay, still have some seeds for next year. Kale forever. I'm growing this blue wheat. Now, I'm not growing this as a harvest crop for food. My garden clearly is not large enough for that. I am growing it as a decorative, an interest portion. So once I'll probably end up putting it in a pot. You can see there's a cool video or set of videos on Epic Gardening where they grew the wheat and then they turned it into bread. One of my favorites that Kevin did over there. I think it's great. So anyway, no bread making over here with my wheat. This is just for decoration, but it will be cool. That particular look, I think you'll find, I've grown it before and it did look pretty cool. So I'm excited to do it again. If these are fairly, they're only a couple years old, so hopefully this will work. I'm going to put 2 in each cell. I'm only going to do a 6-pack, but I'll do 2 in each cell for backup purposes, as you've heard me do many times.
It's often the smaller tasks, the quiet sowing, the careful planting, that set everything in motion. What we've done today may not look like much, not yet, but in time, the beds in this garden are going to begin to fill, and it's going to take on a life of its own. For now, I trust just enough to simply begin. So thanks for gardening with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.